Hello beautiful people, and welcome back to another video by your girl here, Big Bubbly Beauty. It's great to see you all again. So continuing on in the 3 Looks 1 palette series for my Profusion palettes, I have the Emeralds palette. Now I know my outfit's very much not emerald, and so today I'm going to actually try and create a more earthy look, more neutral look out of this palette, because I believe that you can. There's this nice russet shade here that I'm going to try, and I'm going to bump it up with some of these more neutral shimmers over here. Maybe add a pop of this green just on the edge, but we're going to try and keep it nice and neutral because I think that you can actually create a nice neutral look out of this, as well as some pretty green looks. But today is a neutral look. And then tomorrow we will try one of the, or actually the suggested look on the back, and then the third look will be just me playing around. But as I said, today, because I just felt like wearing this very bright peachy coral kind of dress, I want to play with a very neutral look out of this palette because I think that we can. Now, so far I've found that all Profusion shades they apply really well, they wear really well throughout the day, so I will be surprised if this one does not act the same. We're gonna do a 3 Looks 1 palette with this. Now, my face is completely bare because I don't know how much fallout there is going to be from this palette. It does seem to vary between the palettes how much fallout there is, and so I've just moisturized and primed the face. I haven't done anything else. Let's get started. We're just going to start with the russet shade and actually just put it into the crease and then just all over the lid. That nice kind of peachy brown shade, but you can put it everywhere to start. I did not put any primer on my lids because I want to see how these do just on their own. So far, it's very pigmented. Sorry for the lighting. I really like the idea of natural lighting. Yeah, so these are nicely pigmented. Now I'm actually going to take a packing brush and go in through the same shade and just put it all over the lid. This is our neutral base. The weather is not really cooperating, I will say, for using natural lighting, so that's why I'm talking about it and kind of making excuses for it. I know the lighting's kind of bad because of the weather, but sometimes it's just like that. The weather just sucks. There we go. That did not take long at all. Did not take much product at all. And it's this nice kind of rusty brown color. It's kind of funny because this Emeralds palette, half of it reminds me of potatoes. I don't know if they did that on purpose. Half of it is like green and half of it reminds me of potatoes. Also, doesn't help that the color is literally called russet. Just realizing that now. Wow. I think I'm going to take this dark green shade Juniper and just put it on the outer corner just to deepen things up a little bit. Well, that is very green. Much more green than I expected. This might have been a mistake. Okay, we'll just blend that and see how it does. I'm just going to go back over with a bit of the russet shade. Lighten it up ever so slightly because it looks like swamp water. It's not the favorite look I've done so far. So that might have been a bit of a mistake. It looks a bit swampy, for lack of a better word. A little bit swampy, but we're going to keep going. We are going to use this radioactive shade here, this nice pressed kind of russety color, and just put that in the center of the lid. See if it applies with a brush, and if it doesn't, then we'll apply it with the finger. And yes, I'm actually applying it up into the crease just to try to make that transition a little bit more deliberate looking. That actually did not go too bad. So we're going to take this brush and just give it a little swirl to clean it off a little bit. And we're just going to blend out those edges, starting with the lighter edges to diffuse it a little. Apparently glitter saves everything. Now, one thing I am noticing is that that inner corner, the russet shade, is fading a bit already. And I don't know if it's because the other colors are just so punchy, but we're just going to tap that on again. And I do think it's just because those other colors are so punchy that this one just needs a little bit of extra help. It is nice and buildable, I will say. I took the glitter up a little too high up here. Now, on that very inner corner, very inner corner, I was gonna take Gilded, but considering how like earthy, I was gonna say potato-y again, but earthy this is, I might take this shimmer shade Burst here. Let's just swatch it to see how it would look. Is it gonna be bright enough on the inner corner? Would definitely solidify the fact that this is a potato look. Now I think I am gonna take Gilded, the shade up here, and just put that on the inner corner. And basic, what can I say? Actually, I'm gonna take this pointed one. I know it's not usually the one I use for this, but I just want to get in there and just really keep it close to that inner corner and not spread it too far up. Yeah, that was the right choice because it's even a little darker on my eyes than it was in the pan. So far, that is the earthy look we are doing today. I feel like I might have to change my shirt because this just doesn't seem like a go. I gotta go put on my face and I will be back. Okay, so we're back and the face is done. So I used the Bobbi Brown foundation, Intensive Skin Serum Foundation SPF 40 in the shade W26 Warm Ivory. For face products, I actually just used a lot from this Ish Natural Glow palette with Alex Garza, just continuing to see whether or not I really like it. And I used the shade Suntan here as a bronzer. It was a little intense, so I did go kind of like all over just to warm up my face a lot because it was just like the places where it was you could barely see. And then for blush I mixed rose gold and a tiny bit of coral just to warm it up a bit. For highlight I used Luminance on the cheekbones, and then I used Brilliance as a little topper just on the cheekbone, and then I used Brilliance on the nose and on the Cupid's bow of the lip. I forgot to tell you about the concealer I used. For concealer, sorry, I used the Ish Probiotic Concealer in the shade Light Eyeliner. Such a basic bitch. But I used the Burt's Bees Nourishing Eyeliner in 1405 Soft Black. And then for mascara, I tried out this Stila Huge Extreme Lash little trial thing in some form of black. Doesn't tell me much besides that. And then for under eye setting powder, I used the Terre Mer Photo Finish Translucent Setting Powder. I find the Bobbi Brown makes me really dry because it's a little too matte. I used the Pearlescence Coconut Water Hydrating Face Mist on top just to help it sit a little bit better. Then for lips, I started with the Tiana by Anna V Beauty. I don't know what shade it is, but it's just like light pink. And then I layered on top because again, it looked quite dry, this Burt's Bees Tinted Lip Balm in Red Dahlia. And so that gives you the look that we have right now. I say with the whole face together, I'm actually not minding the eyes as much anymore. They've grown on me. Kind of like them now. I also use the white highlighter as a brow bone highlight. Oh, and brow product, duh. Forgot about that. For the brow product, I just use the Art Deco Eyebrow Filler with the defining gel fibers in the shade 46B. And it doesn't really fill them in too much. It leaves them quite natural looking, but it acts as both a filler, color, and a gel all in one. I love this product so much. All right, so now to finish up the eye look, I'm just gonna be really basic with it, if I'm being honest. And I'm just gonna take that shade Russet and just pull it on the outer edge underneath the eyes. Just connecting it to that inner corner highlight and just pulling it all the way across. We're just gonna finish up with some mascara on the bottom lashes. We are done. So in terms of the shades that I've used so far, I will say that that Juniper shade, the really dark one here on the corner, did go on kind of patchy on the outer edges. Like one side it looks really nice and the other side it looks kind of patchy. So I'm gonna have to work with it in another look, see if I can get it to look better. The Russet shade is brilliant. I love that brown shade. It's gorgeous. The Gilded shade works amazingly as an inner corner highlight. Radioactive, the glitter shade there, I have a problem with. So in terms of fallout, none of the shades had fallout except for the glitter shade, and like my cheekbones have shit tons of glitter on them right now, and I kept trying to brush it away and it kept not working. And it was like after I put on the foundation too, so I have lots of glitter everywhere on my face at the moment thanks to Radioactive. So not entirely happy with that, but I will say that the rest of the look actually turned out, now that it's been on my face for a little while, I actually do like it. So I was a little harsh on it to begin with, but I like it now. So we're going to wear it throughout the day and I will let you know how it fades, how it wears, and I will check in with you later. Okay, so I'm back at the end of the day check-in. It has been quite a few hours since I've had this on, and I will say that the longer I've had it on, the more I like it. So the colors have started to grow on me, the color choices, I mean. So there's a few things that I want to talk about in terms of the actual shades. So that shade Fern, I think it was called Fern. No, Juniper. I keep mixing that up. Shade Juniper, which was initially patchy on the outsides, has actually gotten a bit more blended, and I haven't touched it. Like I have not touched my eyes, I haven't done anything to my eyes. So the shades do start to muddy over time, so they start to run into each other, but in some ways that actually makes the blending look better. Now if you were looking for a very distinct, this is this shade kind of look, probably not the shades for you because they do blend in a little bit more. The one downside that I found is that they are creasing a little bit. I don't know if you can see that, but in the crease they are starting to collect, and I didn't use that much product. And I didn't use a primer though, to be fair, so give these a fair shot. But they are creasing a little bit and they are moving a little bit, but they're still very pigmented, very bright, very good shades still. I will say so far this is not my most favorite palette out of the ones I've tried. I've only tried the neon and the mauves palette so far. Mauves has definitely been my favorite, but then again, I am a little bit basic when it comes to my makeup. We'll give this a try tomorrow and we'll see how this does, and I'll let you know tomorrow if any of them stained. But considering it's been on for like a good few hours, I like it, and I've actually gotten quite a few compliments on it, surprisingly. Maybe that's because of the glasses. It goes really well with my glasses, to be fair. Like, it's hard to tell in this lighting, but the glasses are like a greenish brown, and so with this eyeshadow, it's like pretty well perfect. I will check in with you again tomorrow. Okay, beautiful people, we are back. Day 2 of trying out the Emerald palette. Now, I have only done kind of moisturizer, face stuff in terms of getting it ready, but I haven't put any product on it, so no primers, nothing. I did put an eye primer on this time to see if they stick better, and it is the Stay Don't Stray in Light Medium by Benefit. We'll see if it works a bit better this time. Now, the last look was okay. So far I would say this isn't my favorite palette, and now I'm at a crossroads where I have 2 looks planned out to finish this 3 looks 1 palette, and I have one really crazy one and one that I think I'm gonna like more which is a bit more neutral and a bit more just like nice. Now, because of this outfit that I'm wearing, I'm actually thinking of doing the more crazy one today, so if I don't love this look, please stick around for the last look, because that will definitely tell you whether or not it is a good palette or not, but we will see how it goes with today's look. Fun and crazy, here we go. First thing I'm actually gonna do is take a packing brush and dip into the shade Meadow. So we're gonna put this all over our lid and up into the crease. So it's just gonna go everywhere. Now, I've had a bad experience with a shade like this before with the Jaclyn Hill palette, and I will be doing a 3 looks 1 palette with that, where I talk about it more in depth, but let's hope this one's better. So far the answer is yes. So there is our nice green base, greenish blue base. I think it matches my top quite nicely, which is part of the reason why we're doing this. Then I'm just gonna do that on the other side. There we go. Now I am gonna take a blending brush with the same color and just pull it up into my crease a bit. Okay, so we're encountering some problems. As soon as we try to blend this color out, it starts going a little patchy and not nearly as impactful. Definitely losing some of the pigment as you blend it across the lid, but it's still workable. Like, it's not super patchy, so there's at least some workability here. And for some reason that side just went like 90 times better than the other side. I don't know why. Do you guys ever find that when you use glitter that it stays, like it haunts you for the rest of your freaking life? So I used a glitter before and I just cannot get rid of it off of my eyes or off of this palette. So if there's little glitter specks, it's not intentional right now. This is supposed to be a matte shadow. It's just that there was glitter everywhere from my look the last time. Now we are going to go into this wonderful shimmer shade, Monumental. So when I swatch this, it is a little sheer, so it does definitely do better if you have a color underneath it. We're going to put this all over just the lid, but not up into the crease. And so we're just going to add the shimmer to pop that lid. Try it with a brush first. Don't think this is gonna work, but we're gonna try. Yeah, this might be one that you have to use your finger for. So we're just gonna go in with my finger. So gorgeous on the finger. It's not exactly transferring the best onto the lid, even with the finger though. But we're getting there. Slowly but surely. Oh god, it's taking forever. Okay, so even though I applied that with my finger, there is a surprisingly large amount of fallout from that. So this is definitely something to try before you put on the rest of your makeup. And now this might go horribly wrong, but since when have I done a look so far that I haven't said that? I'm gonna take this shimmery shade, this deep shimmer shade, Galaxy, and just try and deepen the outer corner just a tiny bit. Kind of like that, just outer edge, just deepen it up a little bit. That looks like it picks up a lot better on the brush than the other shimmer. Okay, I'm going to be taking a blending brush over that after. That didn't go nearly as badly as I thought it was going to. Also, if you hear some random weird noises in the background that sound like snoring, that is my dog. He is literally snoring right behind me. That blended beautifully. So did that actually. Okay, that was beautiful. That blended amazing. So that Galaxy shade is actually a pretty nice shimmery black. So just to give you an idea, this is the Galaxy shade that I put on. It's kind of like got silver and just some shimmer in it. Quite pretty. Just to brighten up the inner corner, because there's a lot going on, I'm just going to take the shade Gilded here, this nice like bright pop, and just put that on the inner corner just to lighten things up there a little bit. There we go. Now, normally I do like to pull some of the color underneath. I'm a little hesitant to do that, but it does look a little top heavy. This actually turned out much prettier than I expected. That black shade blended really, really well. It has something to do with it. It's a little sheer, so it's not like completely black, which is I think helping it actually. I just wanted it to darken. I didn't want it to blacken. So if you were looking for it to be black, that's different. It does not really look black. It blends out, but it does darken nicely if you want to keep up a more monochromatic-ish look. I'm gonna do the rest of my face, and then I'm going to decide whether or not to take some of that blue underneath. So the rest of the face is on now. In terms of primer, I used the Professional Benefit Primer Hydrating Primer. And then for foundation, I used the L'Oreal Infallible 24-Hour Fresh Wear. This time in a new shade. I'm just trying this out because it's not been super sunny out, that my complexion is going from the tan that I had back to pasty pale. So I'm trying out 435, which has a different undertone. I also find that when I tan, I have a different undertone somehow than when I'm normal. So I'm trying out this one, which is a bit more rosy. So 435. Concealer, I just went over under the eyes and on Spot Conceal with the Ish Probiotic Concealer in the shade Light. I only set my under eyes, and that was with the Terramare Photo Finish Translucent Setting Powder. For blush, I used the Art Deco Little Romance 33A. For highlight, I used, again, the Too Faced Fancy Pink Diamond highlight that I got in a BoxyCharm. It is gorgeous packaging. Very bulky, but gorgeous packaging. I'm actually starting to make a dent in it, and I'm very surprised. I've been using it for a lot of looks though, so I really shouldn't be that surprised. I kind of went more cool toned because the green came off very cool tone to me rather than warm tone, so that's kind of where I went with the rest of my makeup. And then on my lips, I have Honesty by Bare Minerals, which is a hydrating lipstick. It is, I'm so obsessed with this right now. It is so good. So freaking good. I love it. And then just for the brows, because I was feeling lazy at this point, quite honestly, and I've used this pretty much every time, but it is the Art Deco Eyebrow Filler in 46B with Defining Gel with Fibers. That is the look so far. I really, really like it. And I don't think I'm gonna touch it. Part of me wants to go under with the color, and part of me is worried that I'm gonna ruin it if I do that. And I quite like how it looks right now. So I'm not even gonna use eyeliner. Honestly, I'm just going to put on some mascara and call it a day because I like this look. I'm surprised that I like it because I was not hopeful whatsoever when I first put it on, but now it is gorgeous. So I'm kind of scared to touch it more. So for the mascara that I'm going to use, I'm going to try out this Nourishing Mascara, volumizing, waterproof, enriched with almond and camellia oil, and it's from Botanio Beauty. My other mascaras have gotten old and are done for now, and this is like a weird squeezy tube mascaras. Agree with that or not, this is the final look. As I said, I just don't want to add more to it because I'm really happy with how it looks right now, and I just don't want to ruin it. I like it. And I know it's a weird fear to have, but I like how it is. I don't think it necessarily needs more. Like, I could go underneath and I could go fully dramatic with that eyeliner and just like wing it out and make this a full-on glam look. But that's not exactly my style. I don't usually like to do full-on glam looks. Like, this is much more bright and bold than I would normally do. I'm not saying I don't like it, but it does make me want to diffuse it a little bit. So not go the full glam by putting on the winged liner and going underneath with Meadow again and then topping it with the shimmery shade and all that stuff. I like it as it is. Can already say I'm a little concerned it's gonna move and become patchy throughout the day, but we shall see. I will check back in later. Bye, beautiful people. So here we are at the end of the day. Now it has really only been like 2 or 3 hours, if I'm being honest. I did get a very late start to today, so the light is almost gone, but it's like 7:30, so it makes sense. However, the eyeshadow, despite the fact that it has only been on for like 2, maybe 3 hours, does not look good. So it's creasing a massive amount. It's very patchy in between, around the crease, like, I don't know if that makes it more visible or not, but like, it's just bad. It did not stay put even with a primer. As much as the look was gorgeous, it's starting to fade, it's starting to become patchy, it's creasing. I'm just wondering if this palette is just not good. I love the other two, like I love the Mauves palette and I love the Neon palette. Both of those were incredible palettes. But just so far with this one, I was so excited for it, but it's not been performing like how I want it to. They don't stay well, they are becoming patchy, they muddy pretty easily. I don't know. We'll try the last look tomorrow and then I'll give my final thoughts, but right now I'm not impressed. I know it's only $5, but I was so blown away with the other two at this point that I thought that this one would be amazing. It's really not been great so far. I will check in again with the third and final look of the 3 Looks 1 palette and we'll give them our final thoughts. Okay, beautiful people, and we're back to do the third and final look with the Emeralds palette. That Meadow shade and the Monumental shades right there, those two, both stained my eyelids. So it took actually a few days for it to come off. So this isn't actually the next day, it is a few days later because this stuff stained. So already it's made me not want to do the final video for this. So it's actually quite late at night, so I actually have my studio lights on because I couldn't be bothered. I kept putting it off and putting it off and putting it off, which just to me is a sign that I don't like this palette. Maybe it's because I am now biased because I had such a bad experience with these two here, but we're gonna do the final look. But it is already late at night, so it will not have a wear test because I'm actually just forcing myself to finish this video with the 3 Looks 1 palette just to show you a third and final look. Maybe it can redeem itself for you guys. For me, it honestly, I don't care how nice that last look is going to turn out. I'm gonna get rid of this. A little scarred. But first, just to tell you what is on my face right now, I actually went ahead and did the whole rest of my face already. So I don't actually have any primer on because I wanted to use this, and it is the Ish Probiotic Tinted Moisturizer. Nice and dewy looking. And then I have the Ish Probiotic Concealer. So this is in the shade Light, as is this. Both a little too light for me right now, but I don't care. I'm at that point. And then for the face products, I used a combination of these two blushes right here in the Alex Garza and Ish palette, the Ish Natural Glow palette. And then for highlighter, I used this one here on my cheekbone, and then I used this one here as a layering and kind of under the brow bone and the nose, little Cupid's bow, boop. Then on my lips, I have probably one of my favorite lipsticks ever. I got it as a sample at Sephora and just fell in love. And that is the Bare Minerals, I don't know what kind of lipstick it is, in the shade Honesty. I love it, it's so moisturizing. And on my brows, as always, I have the Art Deco Eyebrow Filler with Defining Fibers in the shade 46B. Time to get this over with. So in terms of matching this outfit, it's got some actually like greenish yellow leaves that I'm gonna pull from. I had a better matching outfit yesterday, but then I just, I kept avoiding filming because I just didn't want to touch this palette again because it stained my eyelids and I actually hate it. So normally I'm really bubbly and positive, but really I can't like this palette right now. As an eyeshadow primer, I have the Stay Don't Stray in the light medium from Benefit. Let's do this. So I'm going to take the shade Fern here, up here, and put it all over my lid up into the crease. And then on the actual eyelid itself, I'm going to layer the shade Harlequin, this kind of sparkly shimmer. On the outer edge, I'm going to try again with this Juniper shade, this darker green, just to make it a little bit darker on the outer edge. And then on the inside, we're going to go with Burst as an inner corner highlight just to draw it all in together. And then hopefully we're gonna go underneath the eye with Fern and with Burst. So we're gonna try this, see how it turns out, just to give you guys the full 3 Looks 1 palette so that you know that I've tried all the shades, and then you can make your own judgment. I'm gonna try not to be too biased, but I will tell you that I already don't like it. Green right here, this fern shade, and just put it everywhere. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it is patchy already. We're just gonna keep going. I will give it that so far there's no fallout. That is so patchy. Oh my god, okay. Are greens like hard to do? So far every issue I've encountered with this palette has happened with a greenish blue color. Okay, it went on much better on this side than it did this eye, but they're both a little patchy. And when you try and build them up, they shear out really quickly and kind of like collect. I'm not honestly sure what else I can do with that at this point, so we're just gonna move on. I'm just gonna tap some of the darker shade onto the edge. Hopefully this goes well. Okay, and packed on there. So we're gonna try blending that out. Okay, so admittedly compared to the last time I used it, and I don't know what is different, but it is actually blending out much better, that dark green shade, than it did the last time. Maybe it just likes the color that I used with it better. It blended out much better. Much better. So those blended nicely actually. So that was the juniper color. Now we're gonna go in with Harlequin, which actually looks like a really gorgeous limey green shimmery shade. And I'm just gonna pick it up with my finger. I'm gonna give it the best shot possible. Look at that. Oh, so pretty. Okay, the difference between applying that and this monumental shade here was insane. This goes on so much easier. It's so much more creamy, so much lighter, much more pigmented. Yeah, I was almost able to do that with one pass. This shade is much better. I wouldn't say that blends, like it goes on really well, but it doesn't blend very well, that shimmery shade, unfortunately. I still think there's a gradient. I think it's actually still holding up. I don't know how well the shimmery shade's doing. It's kind of blending into the crease shade, but you know what? It's not doing too bad so far. Let's go and pop an inner corner with Burst, which is this gold color here. Let's see how it does with the brush, and if it doesn't work, then we'll use my finger. That actually worked incredibly well. This shade's actually quite nice. It's a really nice gold. Yeah, that's actually a really nice gold. That worked beautifully. Okay, so the goldy shimmer shade, much better than I expected. All right, so I'm gonna actually take the same shade on this little angle brush and try and just bring it down on the inside, because then we're gonna meet up with that fern color again on the outside. Now I initially was just gonna take the fern shade and meet back up with it, but I need to go back into Harlequin, see if I can pick it up on the brush and just do a little bit more on the inside. It's not picking up very well on camera. Okay, and last we're gonna use the fern shade, this green here, and just meet up with the edge. Now, because the gold shade did so well, I'm gonna try and see if I can use it as an eyeliner. So that Burst shade from before. Feeling kind of shamrocky. So swiping it doesn't do much, but if you pat the color, it does a bit more. Is that showing up? Maybe not super well. I am just going to pop some mascara on now, and it's going to be the Nourishing Mascara Volumizing Waterproof by Beauty Botanio? I'm not quite sure. And there we go. So that is the final look with the Emeralds palette by Profusion. Final thoughts. Pro, actually zero fallout. So that was pretty good. And I will admit, I really like this look. Kind of feel like St. Patrick's Day, which is kind of impressive. I really like it. Does it go with my dress? Hell no, I was wrong. But I still like it anyway. But it's actually a really nice eye look. Like, I managed to create something really gorgeous. Now, in terms of those shades, I still stand by that this is not my favorite palette from them. I definitely like the Mauves palette better, and the Neons palette was actually pretty good too. This one is a little bit too patchy. So the problem with this palette is that there's a lot more shades in here that don't work than the other palettes. Now, it is still a $5 palette, and for this look, it's a pretty damn good eye look for a $5 palette. I'll give it that. There are some shades that are bomb in here, like this gold shade here. I am so tempted to keep this palette just for this shade because it is brilliant. Like, it is so good. And it picks up with a brush too. Like, I love this shimmery gold here. It's called Burst. It doesn't look the best on the finger, but like, look at that. But some of these shades here suck. Like this one, Meadow. Do not put this on your eyelids. It will stain. It stained mine. It stained them for like 3 days. And I used a lot of makeup remover to try to get it off, and it wouldn't come off. Yeah. The shade Monumental here is quite sheer. It's a good topper for Meadow, but don't use Meadow. The shade Galaxy, this black shimmery shade, I actually did like. It's very sheer, but it's kind of nice to just darken it with giving it a little sparkle. So it's not terrible. And then this shade here, Harlequin, beautifully pigmented, very creamy, very smooth, a little hard to blend and does kind of blend out into almost nothing, but I like it as a topper. The shade Burst, incredible. Love it. The shade here, Juniper. Love and hate. It gets quite patchy very fast. And unfortunately, same with the shade here, Fern. It took quite a bit of work to make it look not super patchy. And so that sucks, because for an emerald palette, there's only one green shade that looks good. That looks reliably good. That's kind of bad. The shade Russet, nothing really wrong with it. It was okay. That's a good, one of the best shades in an emerald palette. That's where I have issue. Radioactive, meh. Again, okay. Gilded, very nice. So these two over here are actually pretty nice. There's more shades in here that I don't like than I love. There's some that are okay. But considering, as I said, it is supposed to be an emerald palette, and as in a green palette, it takes a lot of work to actually get a nice green look out of it. And for that reason, I wouldn't recommend it. Now, as I said, I've gotten some pretty nice looks, and if you don't mind either your eye staining or taking a little bit of extra time, it is only $5. 5 American dollars, but still. It is only $5, so it's not a terrible price. I will say that personally, I'm going to be getting rid of this. It is going to be decluttered right after this video is done, just because it's not worth it for me. And plus, these aren't really shades that I gravitate towards naturally. The Neons palette surprised me enough that I'm going to keep it because it was actually incredible. I loved the eye looks that I got out of it. Not as big of a fan of the eye looks I managed to create out of this. This was actually a bit harder to create something for me just because it's not my usual color scheme. And then again, some of them were a lot more work than I would like. So if this is up your alley, great. If this is your normal colors that you love to wear, perfect. It's okay. But if you're like me and this is not your cup of tea and you just want something easy, I would not recommend this. This is me trying to be harsh. I'm so bad at it. Anyways, that is it, beautiful people. That is it for the Emeralds palette. And I will see you next time with the next palette. Bye!